Okay, hopefully this is the last intro you'll see. No, second to last, because I filmed these out of order. Second to last intro you'll see with me in this shirt. So today I have swatches of the Essie Summer 2018 collection. There are 6 polishes here all together. I got these on Amazon. They did arrive intact, not packaged well, but it was a bit of a miracle. And which I talked about in the next video because I filmed it before this one because I did this out of order and none of this makes sense and I need to stop talking. So 6 polishes all together and I will get into the swatches. So the first polish is called All Daisy Long, and this is a white kind of pearlized polish. What's not picking up on camera very well is that this has a really cool kind of green and pink shift to it. So this one is pretty sheer on that first coat and does have some pretty significant brush strokes when it's wet. The green shift at least seems to be showing up a bit better on my nail than it did when it was in the bottle. And good formula on this one. So some of those brush strokes do go away as this dries, but there are still a few there, so you do want to be careful. And it is still a bit sheer on that second coat. I'm glad you can pick up that green shimmer a bit on camera. It has a little bit of a pink shift to it as well, but for the most part, you're going to see the green. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but Essie just announced a new collection. It looks like a collection of like a bunch of pinks, which is not my favorite thing ever. But they also said that the polishes going forward in the US and Canada are going to have a wide brush instead of this little skinny monstrosity that we've been dealing with for a while, so I'm very excited about that. So this one on that second coat actually looks a lot less sheer on camera than it actually was in person. It was pretty clearly could still see my nail line. And the third coat is a little bit better, but it still doesn't cover completely. It really just depends on what angle that you're looking at it from. Some angles the shimmer is just strong enough that it covers up the nail line, and other angles you can see it pretty clearly. So that is 3 coats of All Daisy Long. The next polish is called Empowerment, and this is just a minty, slightly blue-green. So this one is also a little bit sheer and a bit streaky on that first coat. I feel like with Essie creams you can get one of 2 formulas. These ones that are a little bit like almost watery and sheer and streaky, and this definitely isn't the worst of that version that I've ever tried. And then the other ones are super, super opaque and you can get them in 1 or 2 coats and they run a little bit thicker. This is the more watery kind, which is actually a little bit surprising because I feel like Essie has more moved towards those thicker, more opaque creams in recent years. But this one is a little bit thin. I don't think it's too thin, but it is on the thin side. So this one is still a bit streaky on that. Oops, I don't have enough polish on my brush there. But this one is still a bit streaky on that second coat. It's not terrible, and I think if you are very careful, you could probably get away with this in 2. I just like totally botched my pointer finger, so I'm definitely going to need 3 here. And that first coat did seem to dry a little bit more sheer than it was when it was wet. So this one does cover completely in 3 coats, and I was looking at the nails that I didn't completely botch, and I still had some dark spots on those as well. So I'm confident in my 3 coat assessment here. And this one also dries pretty shiny. So that is 3 coats of Empowerment. The next polish is called Young, Wild, and Me, and this is a kind of lighter dusty pink. So this one is still a bit streaky on that first coat, but it's definitely not as thin, sheer, streaky as the last one. And good formula on this one as well. It's actually funny, I was just saying that there's 2 different kinds of Essie cream formulas. This doesn't really fit into either one. This is kind of in between. It's not as thin as the last one, but it's not really on the thick side either. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats, but I can see where depending on your application you might end up needing 3. And hopefully you can see that it does seem to dry significantly darker than it applies. But I did notice that I feel like this dried really fast because I set a 2-minute timer on my phone in between coats, otherwise I'll get distracted and forget to start the video back up. And this polish was pretty dry within like 45 seconds of me turning the camera off and waiting for that first coat to dry. So that is 2 coats of Young, Wild, and Me. The next polish is called Sunny Daze, and this is a kind of sandy tan color with a gold shimmer. So this one is actually, it's pretty opaque on the first coat for something that has shimmer in it. I can still see my nail line, but it does cover pretty evenly. I'm going to try to be objective here because I really hate this color on my nails. I don't think it looks good with my skin tone at all. Good formula on this one too. It's kind of like the perfect consistency for me. A little bit on the thicker side, but not difficult to apply or spread out. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats, and that shimmer stands out very, very nicely. And this does dry just a little bit dull. So that is 2 coats of Sunny Daze. The next polish is called the Fuchsia Is Bright, and this is just a bright pink. So this one covers really well on that first coat. It is still a little tiny bit streaky though, so I'm going to add a second, but overall it covers pretty nicely. I don't even think the streaks are showing up on camera. And pretty good formula on this one. I feel like this one is just a little tiny bit on the thick side. Not bad for me, because I prefer thicker formulas, but I can see for someone who might not like this. Just depending on your preferences. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. I do feel like it is drying. What did I just do? Like I was saying, I do feel like it's drying a little bit darker than it applies, and it also is not, it's hard to tell because I'm just looking at the viewfinder, but I feel like it's showing up a little bit leaning neon-ish, very bright on camera. It's a bright pink, but it's not neon at all. And this also dries pretty shiny. So that is 2 coats of the Fuchsia Is Bright. And the last polish is called Making Harmony, and this is a deeper, almost eggplant-ish purple. If there is such a thing as a dusty eggplant, that's what this color reminds me of. It covers very well on that first coat. Not quite a 1-coater for me. I do have a few light spots, but it's very close. I think this is one that after it's been used a few times and gets a little bit thicker just naturally, it should be a 1-coater. The formula on this one is okay. I do feel like it's a little thin. I feel like it's not thinner than any of the other ones in the collection, but because it's such a dark color, it being thin and a little bit harder to control makes me more nervous. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats, and I had a few nails that were completely opaque on that first. It does dry to a darker, almost less dusty purple than it looks like when it's wet, and it also dries very shiny. So that is 2 coats of Making Harmony. I feel like I must be getting really, really, really old. I don't know what's happening to me because All Daisy Long is my favorite, and this is the kind of polish that I would absolutely have detested like a year ago, but I love the way this looks on my nails. It's pearly, and it's like white pearly, and my least favorite thing ever, but it has this really cool, I want to say like oystery shift, like green to pink, and it shows up really, really nicely on the nails. The brush strokes dried down a lot better than I thought they would, and when I put this on for the swatch, I really, really liked it. I don't know what's happening to me, but this one was my favorite. So that is the Essie Summer 2018 collection. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.